Welcome to our deep dive on Brazil's automotive market. We're going to be using this report from Fleet Mobility today, uncover the key players, the emerging trends, and really what makes this market tick. You ready? Let's hit the road.
Let's go. I think it's really interesting because we hear about these global automotive giants, but to understand the unique dynamics of specific markets like Brazil can really open your eyes to the bigger picture.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so first let's set the scene. Talking about a country with a population of 217 million people. That's huge. And a GDP of 1.92 trillion US dollars. That's no small player.
Right. Brazil is a significant economic force. And it's not just about cars either. They have a diverse industry, agribusiness, oil and gas, even aerospace. But what's really striking is that 1 in 3 Brazilians own a car. Their national light vehicle fleet size is a massive 72.3 million.
Wow, 1 in 3. I have to admit, I was expecting maybe public transport to be more dominant. What's driving this love affair with personal vehicles?
It's a combination of things, really. You've got cultural factors and you've got geographical factors. Geographically, Brazil is vast. Think, Amazon rainforests, sprawling cities, coastal regions. Public transportation simply isn't as readily available or efficient as it is in, say, some European countries or, especially outside major urban centers. And then culturally, car ownership is often tied to ideas of personal freedom and status.
Okay, that makes sense. So they love their cars, but are they just buying them, or are they building them too?
They're doing both. Brazil is a significant vehicle producer, churning out 2.32 million vehicles in 2023 alone. And that includes both passenger cars and what we call LCVs, or light commercial vehicles. Essentially delivery vans, pickups, small trucks, that sort of thing. And this production power is why you see so many global players setting up shop in Brazil. We're talking big names like Audi, BMW, Chevrolet, Fiat, Honda, Hyundai, Jeep. It's quite the lineup.
Whoa, that is impressive. It sounds like Brazil has become a global automotive hub. But hold on, I'm seeing here that new light vehicle registrations actually jumped 14% in 2024, reaching 2.48 million. What's fueling this growth spurt?
Well, several factors are at play. We're seeing signs of economic recovery, evolving consumer preferences, and let's not forget the impending arrival of some major new players.
Oh yeah, I read about that. Chinese auto giants BYD and GWM making their entrance in 2024. That's going to shake things up, right?
Absolutely. It's a major development. Could reshape the entire landscape. BYD, for example, is known for its electric vehicles, cutting-edge technology. They can really disrupt the market, especially given that traditional fuel costs are relatively high in Brazil. We'll dive into the specifics later, but gasoline and ethanol are both hovering around 99 and 97 US cents per liter.
Ouch. No wonder electric vehicles might be appealing. And GWM, what's their strategy?
GWM is focusing on SUVs and pickups, two segments that are incredibly popular in Brazil. They could put significant pressure on existing brands, especially in those categories.
Okay, so we got a nation that loves cars. They're making them, buying them in increasing numbers, and now we've got these new players entering the game. Talk about a dynamic market. But let's get down to brass tacks. Who are the current heavy hitters in this arena?
Let's talk brands. When it comes to both passenger cars and LCVs, Fiat is holding the crown, selling over 521,000 units in 2024. That's a 9.6% increase year on year, which is pretty impressive.
Wow, Fiat's really killing it. Who else is in that top tier?
Volkswagen is trailing closely behind, followed by General Motors, Hyundai and Toyota, rounding out the top 5. It's interesting to note, though, that General Motors actually saw a 4.1% decline in sales compared to the previous year.
A decline? That's surprising considering how many different brands they have under their umbrella, so that's the overall picture. But what if we look at cars and LCVs separately? Any major shifts in the rankings?
You're right. It's important to break it down further. When we isolate just passenger cars, Volkswagen actually takes the lead. With over 336,000 units sold, Fiat drops to second place, with General Motors, Hyundai, and Toyota holding their positions.
Interesting. So Volkswagen is the car champion, but Fiat has the overall lead thanks to its strength in LCVs. Sounds like a real battle for dominance is going on. Okay, so we've got a sense of the big players, but what about the specific models that are captivating Brazilian drivers? Any crowd favorites?
When it comes to cars, the Volkswagen Polo is the reigning champion, with over 140,000 units sold in 2024. That's quite a feat, especially considering the decline of the GM Onix, which used to be a dominant force.
The Polo taking the crown, that's a pretty significant shift. What do you think is driving this change?
Well, it seems to reflect a growing preference for compact, fuel-efficient vehicles, especially in Brazil's urban areas. The Polo ticks those boxes. Plus, Volkswagen has a strong reputation for quality and reliability in Brazil, which certainly helps.
Makes sense. So what about those LCVs? Any surprises there?
No surprises at the top. The Fiat Strada continues its reign as the best-selling LCV, with over 144,000 units sold. In fact, Fiat dominates the entire LCV podium.
Okay, so we've got a clear picture of who's winning the hearts and wallets of Brazilian drivers. But before we move on, let's take a quick detour and talk about leasing. It's a significant part of the automotive market, right?
Absolutely, especially for businesses and those who prefer not to commit to ownership. Major players in this sector include Localiza, Movida, and Unidas. They offer a wide range of vehicles for lease, from compact cars to SUVs, and even LCVs.
So it's not just about buying a car, it's about choosing the best way to access mobility that fits your needs and lifestyle. And speaking of access, we can't talk about cars without talking about the cost of keeping them running. What's the fuel situation like in Brazil?
Right, energy costs are a big consideration. As we touched on earlier, gasoline and diesel are almost neck and neck, at around 99 and 97 US cents per liter respectively. Ethanol significantly cheaper, at 67 cents per liter.
Okay, but what really caught my eye in this report was the electricity cost, 14 US cents per kilowatt hour for households. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I have a much better grasp of the key players, the trends, and the forces that are shaping Brazil's automotive market. But before we wrap things up, is there one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listener with?
The key takeaway here is that Brazil's automotive market is vibrant, competitive, and on the brink of a significant transformation. It's a market worth watching, understanding, and perhaps even participating in.
Absolutely. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Brazil's automotive market.
We covered a lot of ground today, but as always, there's so much more to explore.
I always say that the beauty of a deep dive is that it's just the beginning of a journey of discovery.
Exactly.
Fleet Mobility Today.